I think the equation to it is a different solve every time. So, I find them interesting. Like I said, I've had the pleasure to go to a lot of the places that most people wish they could go to. They are fun, and a lot of the owners are cool. A lot of the people that go to those events, are awesome. And but there's nothing like a residential case for me. To me, I haven't investigated like severely in a long time. So, to me, after a long period of time, investigating is boring. Actually. So, it is cool, but I'd rather do a residential case every day,
Yeah,
any day.
I love doing residential cases. I mean, if you get to help someone, I mean, that's where it comes from. You're able to help someone that actually needs it. But getting to go to really cool, supposed haunted locations is also something that I like to do. But it's like we said, we don't really have that here.
Gotta travel a long way.
And you say
Well,
you were in Dallas not too long ago, right? Texas.
I was at a convention in Dallas, yeah. Or what was it called? I forget the actual name. Jeez. Glen Rose, Texas. So.
How was that?
It was. I love Texas. It was my second time there. First time I ever went to Texas. Actually, first and second time I ever went to Texas was in San Antonio. I love San Antonio, but Dallas is awesome. Texas is awesome. If you, of course, you guys don't really know me very well, but I am a Whataburger junkie.
Oh yeah, we have this here in Oklahoma too. So you'll be pretty much set here too.
Oh no.
So I love Whataburger. I think I ate it like 3 times when I was out there.
I love it.
I wanted to take a whole suitcase of Whataburger, but eventually.
What the really awesome thing is about that is they sell their sauce in stores. Like you can go get their ketchup and mustard and stuff off the shelf at a store.
Love the spicy ketchup.
Yeah.
Don't get me going, Max.
I have some of it in the fridge right now.
I'll get off the Skype call and say I hate you because my hunger for Whataburger.
So they don't have one out there, huh?
No,
So we can lure you to Oklahoma with a Whataburger.
Most definitely. That would be. Here's the Whataburger, James.
There's one in Norman, Max.
Oh yeah, well we've got one in Lawton, one in Norman, one in Oklahoma City. Well, we got more than one. I mean, but they're all in. We have a lot.
Take care of your food needs there, James.
What do you think about? You ever had Sonic?
We do have Sonic. I'm not a big fan. I'm sorry. So
Hey,
yeah,
that was started in Oklahoma.
I would rather eat at Carl's Jr. or Hardee's.
Oh yeah,
So.
me too. We used to have one here in Chickasha, and then they shut it down and built a street for some reason. You gotta love the city.
So you can repost this video and say, "What demonologist eat?"
Whataburger.
Whatever.
That's awesome. Love it.
Man, we've got to get you here sometime, though. I know that. It'd be great.
That'd be fun.
Most definitely. I actually never been to Oklahoma, so it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it definitely will be interesting.
George, what's your favorite piece of equipment?
What's my favorite piece of equipment?
Yeah.
Well,
We have all kinds
I
of
don't know if
stuff.
you remember, but I'm gonna flip this question on you.
Uh-oh.
I said it already. Can you remember it?
Yes, sir. The RIM pod.
No.
Oh,
You had an analog. You were talking about an analog recorder.
Yes.
Yes, the analog recorder.
My
Josh,
favorite.
I got one of those too.
I think electronic voice phenomenon that comes from an analog signal is 100% better. Keith Johnson will attest to that. My friend John Zaffis will attest to that. A lot of people actually old timers, even though I'm not an old timer by technicality, because I do have some nice hair left, but no, I love the analog tape recorder. I started off with it. I definitely believe it gives great EVPs, and of course, there's less tampering that you can do with the tape recorder as well than with a digital signal.
Yep. Yeah. See, the thing is, they cost so much now. You try to go buy those at at the store, and the recorders and the tapes, they all cost so much now. It's ridiculous. I haven't gotten one. I've never had one. Well, I did have one a long time ago, but I've never used one for this, and I want one.
You have a Salvation Army out there?
Oh yeah.
They usually have.
I'm a.
I never thought about doing that. That's a good idea.
A good idea.
See, that was a shout out to a great organization.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my karma point for today, guys.
Yes, that's okay. Your karmic debt is paid now, James.
What are your thoughts on like EMF meters, like K2s and just regular Gauss meters?
Well, like anything in the paranormal field, I've always had analytical questions too, because you got to remember, I actually work in trade. I'm a sheet metal worker. I work on duct work. So, I work in construction, so I know the ins and outs of certain trades. I like to say I'm the jack of all trades, a master of none. But, I those equipments that you talked about, like EMS, milligauss, they're all used for electricians, detecting wire, detecting any leakage at a breaker. We do talk about spirits, manifesting and using energy. And of course, we all know by science, we are made of energy because our molecules, atoms, that is energy. Atoms, if you follow science, we are made of energy. So,
Right.
High EMFs could be a detection of ghosts or spirits or entity or whatever you like to call them, but you also got to make sure that there is no natural factors to it as well. And when dealing with EMF, you got to remember, a lot of people don't think of this, and of course it's not to throw anybody's opinions and theories up, but you got to remember what travels in the air. Electronic magnetic fields to the color of noise, white noise, red noise, the certain things. You got to remember these signals are going through the air, they travel. So if you get an EMF hit, could it be something of a natural occurrence? So I had used equipment before, and I still do, because high EMF can make you disoriented, can make you think that you're dealing with things. So it's a great detection to understand. But I definitely, most tools I try to use, because the one thing that, even though these tools come from different trades or different outlets, there's no real true ghost hunting equipment. It's not like we have proton packs with the a trap device, don't cross the streams kind of thing. So nice. any tool you can use that can help detect or give any kind of proof of paranormal existence, I think is helpful. I think there's some gimmicky tools out there, but it's not for me to say. I think there's a lot of gimmicky stuff out there, but some people have caught some cool crap with it, so I can't deny what they've caught.
Mm-hmm.
So you like UFOs?
Well, I actually, dealing with demonology, I actually dealt with one case that I actually gave to MUFON. I think if you're in the paranormal field and you call yourself a paranormal investigator, you don't understand the paranormal field is not just ghosts. It's cryptozoology, it's ufology, it's many other aspects of the pie that the paranormal field is. I primarily deal with spirits and demonic cases or negative cases, but I also, a lot of people don't realize that I was on Finding Bigfoot for 5 seconds, but I don't say anything because but the thing is, though, it's I do study some aspects. I'm not a cryptozoologist, but I have looked into Bigfoot and cryptids before, and have studied abduction cases and stuff like that, because I think I came across one as well, so I called, as I say, a specialist of the field. So I got MUFON in contact. So, I try to have a little bit of knowledge in those aspects of the field, because they are part of the field, and sometimes they do have connection as well, a lot of people do believe that, sometimes certain areas, like up here in New England, we have the Bridgewater Triangle. They have a lot of UFO sightings. They have a lot of Bigfoot sightings. They have a lot of paranormal activity in that area. So, it's interesting to understand any part of the field that you are in. I don't know a lot about cryptids or a lot about ufology, but I know enough.
Yeah. Oh, you were talking about your age and your hair. How old are you actually?
I will be turning a beautiful age of 27 next month.
Oh wow! See,
You're
I'm
a
27
baby.
already.
Oh my God, you're
I turned
such a
27 back in February.
Look at that. Cool dudes think alike, right? We're both 27. Yes.
Dude, I could be your grandma.
You want to be my grandma?
I could be your grandma, man. I'm like 58.
I always wondered who my grandma was. Grandma.
Hi, your fairy grandmother.
Well, I have one more question. This will probably take up some of it. Do you see a difference in? Do you actually believe in human spirits?
Do I actually believe in human spirits?
Yeah, human spirits.
For hauntings?
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't, and so I just wanted to ask that one, and I have one more after that.
Well, my perfect question is that, and I actually made a post. We talk about spirits, demons, and the true answer is I don't know what any of those things are. None of us don't know what a demon or spirit is. We have no factual, equivocal proof that this is what a ghost or a demon is, or a jinn or anything, any kind of spirit. We don't know what it is by fact. I don't know. But the best answer is I don't know. But to answer it and make it sound interesting, I do believe human spirits can haunt. I also do believe, even though demonic cases are very tough, when I do come across negative earthbound spirits or cases that deal with negative earthbound spirits, those cases are actually tougher, because you got to understand is a spirit. When you're spirit and you are a person, a physical body, your soul moves on, and which a lot of people believe what spirit is, you still have free will. You got to understand that. So when you go against anything with free will, it's harder. Demon necessarily doesn't have free will in the same concept as a human does, because how its origins are, there's different origins. So when you deal with a negative earthbound spirit in a haunting, sometimes they are much harder to deal with in a process than something like a demonic entity would be. And anytime I've had negative earthbound spirits, which is a lot of my cases, you got to understand, a lot of my cases are malevolent spirits that either were an a-hole when they were alive, now they're dead, or something of the nature, and they just don't want to go. They just want to cause mayhem, and it's harder to get rid of those spirits from a location than something like maybe a demonic entity. Even though a demonic entity does take a long period of time, there's sometimes more struggle. And you got to remember, a demonic haunting from the get-go kind of plays off like a poltergeist case a little bit, in some degree. Like in most demonic hauntings, a lot of things actually don't happen, like a regular haunting will, because they don't want themselves to be detected. So when you deal with earthbound spirit case, things tend to happen more, like more parlor tricks happen. So sometimes they're the most difficult because of those different equations involved in this situation.
That makes sense, yeah.
So you said earlier you didn't really like the name demon. So what do you yourself, refer to that as instead of a demon?
Well, like I said, I do call the 6 or 7 or whichever cases I can count on my 2 hands demonic cases, but I don't use the D word and very often. It takes a lot for me to drop the demonic word, and even if I deal with the demonic case, I never tell the client they dealt with the demonic case, because anytime, you got to remember, there's words in human culture that affect you entirely. And if you ever go into somebody's house, and this is the problem with a lot of investigators, and this is just lack of knowledge.